Hey, true believers, Englentine here. This is part of a live stream we did. What's the date? On October 15th. And I think this will be the only one I separate this time, unless, of course, you guys request more. But this is where we were asked, if we hate Marvel so much, why do we keep reading? Why do we care so much about the characters? And then we give what I feel are some heartfelt answers. It's my favorite part of the 3-hour broadcast, and yeah, we can be chatty. We take a long time, but I really do think you'll enjoy this part of it. So yeah, kick back, relax, enjoy. If you like videos like this, if you like what we do on the channel, please click like, share, subscribe. Also, head over to VIDME or Patreon. The links are in the description below. Drop $1 in the till. Help us keep making videos like this for you. Anyway, enjoy.
There's one question that was put in here by Melissa that I think does need to be addressed. Why, with as much as we hate Marvel, why do we spend so much time talking with them? So let's just go down the line. Englentine, you first.
Okay, why? One is because we are passionate about the characters. I grew up with the characters, and I've said this before. You guys, a lot of you younger people especially, maybe Frugal remembers this. You may have grown up in a position after the Marvel movies where all of this is accepted. But this was a refuge for people who felt like they were outsiders. Particular refuge, seeing these heroes talk to us personally, that became something else that we could be made fun of. We found solace in the words and the pictures told, and the lessons that were told. We were told, with life comes hope. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, we were taught all of these lessons by these characters. So when we do see these characters being treated so disrespectfully, we speak up. And that's the passion behind most of our videos. And by that I say most, because I know some people are out there, the clicks. I want to get me the shekels. And
hey man, that's my word.
I don't think they care one way or the other. But for a lot of us, the reasons why we do these videos is because just that. This was our place to go to feel safe. Comic cons were the place to go to be yourself. The most accepting culture or subculture, excuse me, in this country is the geek culture. It doesn't matter if you're fat, dress up like Batman, dude. Go right the freaking on ahead. Doesn't matter if you're crippled. If you're in a wheelchair, you do up your chair. Freaking hell, I've got pictures and pictures of people who do that. Dress like a man, dress like a female character. Men can dress like female characters. Nobody cares.
Man, Faye.
There you go.
Shut up.
All that matters is that you love the hobby. All that matters is that you are part of this community. Yeah. And so, yeah, when we see the identity politics come in and they bring their hate with them, that they bring their segregation. Oh, I am this, therefore I can only be inspired by that, is ridiculous.
Right.
And when we hear people saying that that's how we not only are, but have always been, it pisses the heck out of us. It just, it angers us.
I'm going to not even answer this question. I did a 22-minute video about this on my channel.
I've done 2 already. But yes.
Yeah, called Why Does This Mean So Much to Me?
May I answer that?
Go on ahead.
My answer probably isn't as big as yours, because I did not grow up then. I grew up on I grew up on the cartoons and like Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff and all that. But when it comes to Marvel, I think why I talk about Marvel so much and why I dislike what they're doing now is because when I picture Marvel, I picture characters like Spider-Man and like Moon Knight, 2 of my favorite heroes who have these human problems and they're relatable. But when I think of Marvel, there's always that one scene I remember because this story came out when I was younger, Civil War. Like, I always remember that scene where Captain America goes, when the world tells you to move, you stand there and you say no, and you plant your feet and you stay there and you stick to your guts. And I am a person who believes that I should always stick to my beliefs, no matter how much people try to push me. I should always push back twice as hard. And that is what that comic taught me, is that when everyone tells you to move, you refuse to. You plant yourself like a tree in the ground. You draw your line in the sand. And Marvel's line in the sand, it got washed away years ago. And I want to see them go back to something like that. I want to see them writing stories that'll inspire people. Like, just stories that are human, stories that are down to earth. That's not there anymore. And that's what I want to see.
Let's go next to Nerd Wonder and then to Frugal.
Well, I started late, as we all know. But as a kid, I don't understand. Like, a lot of people say that it's like it's so impressive to find girl nerds. But just today, I recalled that every one of my friends in high school were all little nerds. Like, all of the girls, we would all gather around. Like, yeah, we were into manga, but that was our like branch out. Like, my friend, diehard Transformers girl. Like, she could tell me every single dang Transformer.
She's single?
Calm down there, boy.
I'm sorry. She used to have this encyclopedia of it, and she would explain to me, because the cartoon was coming out at the time, and I'm like, yo, what's this? And she goes, that is Bumblebee, but right now they have to call him this Hotshot because they don't have the rights to the car. And then she would get into a big verse about it. But and it was great. And then we only had one guy friend that knew everything about comics, and he knew about Marvel and Superman, so we'd ask him for references and stuff. But so it slowly branched out that I would start getting able, because I lived in the middle of freaking nowhere, so all they had were libraries filled with comics for us to entertain us. So I got into the Runaways, and I got into all this other stuff, and I'm like, I can't wait to go to college so I can be able to read comics. And then, of course, because I wanted to read Spider-Man, that's what I wanted to read. I wanted to read him because I read Ultimate, and I was like, I want to go and read when he's an adult and he's having all these life issues and like dealing with him being married and stuff. Because I also learned about Spider-Girl, and I was like really stoked. But as soon as I got there, One More Day happened, and inside that book, it said I wanted to be in video game design. And that book said that if you're into video game design or artwork or anything like that, you are a pathetic human being, trash. Word for word. Pretty much calling all of us trash. And I was like, this is the kind of people that are making my comics. I don't want any part in you. And I got really pissed off and went cold turkey on them. But there was something about DC that just kept me going.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I went into manga for a really long time, but I was so into the animation department at DC, and it kept me going.
Before we move on, I do have to say thank you very much, Trencher, for your donation. And he says, "Here, Englentine." I guess he enjoyed the speech, and
yeah,
thank you very much, Captain.
So Frugal, same question.
Do you mind a bit of a long answer?
Well, I definitely got on the soapbox, so feel free, man.
All right. I have a very passionate connection with comic books. And I'll give you an example here why. It was an escapism for me. I grew up in a very turbulent upbringing, to say, if you will. My mother, my brothers, and I, we all packed up in the middle of the night and left due to a bad relationship with absolutely nothing. And we were dirt poor. There was 5 of us living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 beds. So, and anyway, so we didn't have it. I mean, I had 1 pair of clothes, and you imagine going to school as a kid with 1 pair of clothes, dirt poor. We didn't have anything. And so we didn't have much. One day my mom at a swap meet got a whole box of comic books for like a quarter. And I mean, it was like over 100 books in there. And I had the Incredible Hulk #1, and early issues of Iron Man and everything else. And I didn't have TV and everything. I read those books hundreds of times. I learned to read on those books. That was when I was like 3 years old. So, and so that's all I had. And so I grew up passionate about those characters, and that was my escapism, seeing how those characters could go through those things. I mean, at a very early age, I learned, I went, this don't, you know, stretch this out to what it is. And I graduated early, went to school early. I was one of those kind of kids. So I just picked up on that kind of stuff, but I grew up and I learned off of all that stuff, and I loved it. And now I want to be able to share those kinds of things with my kids too, and those stories. And I can't pick up one of these books today in most cases in good conscience and read that to my kid. I just can't do it. It's different than anything that I had. I don't see the morals there or anything. So I don't want Marvel to go down. I don't have this ill will towards Marvel and I want them to fail. I want them to get back to being good so I can have those experiences again with my family.
And nerd, weaponized?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm only going to add a little something because like I said, I did a whole video on it. But what, you know, something I want to add that's important to it is when I did the video, and again, I could go on for literally 20 minutes with this answer because it's a very long and complex answer. But Melissa, you can get my answer, and anybody can get my answer. The video is called "Why Does This Mean So Much to Me?" But what I did was important that I wanted to talk about is I asked everybody who watched it to put the same question to them. And and there are so many comments on the video where people are just pouring their hearts out about why they spend so much time wanting to see Marvel be better, why they're still buying Marvel. But the thing is, another question, you know, another part of this is we understand that if we don't buy books, our stores go under, you know, and a lot of the stores have had to make changes. Either start, you know, I have 2 stores down here. One started putting more attention on used book sales. The other one started putting more attention on Warhammer 40K, Yu-Gi-Oh, and the Dragon Ball Z card game because comics just were not selling. And so I don't want to see those stores that I've been going to for, you know, 18, 19 years now, you know, start to go under because those are like, that's my church. Okay. That's where I go for my gospel. All right. And so I buy a lot more back issues now, to kind of ramp up my numbers. Like last week, I just went and bought the entire, Iron Patriot series, the, James Rhodes, storyline following the Dark Reign story. But go on to there and read those comments. These people do open up. I mean, there's like 10 people on there who wrote like 4+ paragraphs on this. And that's really the collection where you can see just the whole of the matter. I mean, it's not that we want to hate things. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that this entire thing can be answered by burning Marvel to the ground. No, I want to fix Marvel. I mean, and I know that if there are choices that are made, we can see the company be as profitable and as good as it used to be. It's just we need to get people in there who have the same passion, and it's not a job to them. And on that note, you know, a point that I wanted to address that just came to my head, Brevoort released something saying like, oh, this is our 3rd most profitable year. Take into consideration this, where are all those writers who have racked up the bigger paycheck? Where are all those artists who racked up the bigger paycheck? Okay, operating costs have been slashed. That's something you have to consider. Most employees at Marvel, from my understanding, don't even have an office or a terminal. They bring their own computer. They bring their own supplies. Nothing is given to you unless you are basically the big dog walking in.
Yeah, that's what they do. They don't care about you. You're a little slave to them.
Their offices are bare damn bones. So you're not being profitable if you're just slashing your operating costs. That's what you do to keep your head afloat.
Well, I'd like to add something, 2 things actually. One, I did speak a little bit. I got those comics at 3. We didn't move out till 5 when I was 5. Just to make that spin there. But the other part is in that I read those comics kept me going through a rough time. But anyway, the other part too is when Brevoort said that was the 3rd most profitable year, he didn't mean just on the comics. That was Marvel comics, and that means movies and everything. That makes complete sense because the movies, he never completely just specified the comics, but because he can't, he moved the goalpost. That would be a complete lie.
Yeah.
And I believe Frugal made a video on that. Now, I would like to say this because I think this is very important. After after that outpouring, after everybody shows exactly why, for anybody who is watching somebody cough into a lap comic right now.
Oh, you mean the live streams?
Anyway, okay.
Oh, wait, DNC's doing a
I'll say
live
one
stream?
thing.
Guys, I gotta go.
All right.
There is one thing I never said, but to me, comics are an art form. Like manga and everything, it is an art form. Like animation's an art form.
Oh yeah, of course,
and
of course.
To me, this is, and an art form can be tarnished and destroyed depending on what happens. And right now, Marvel just sees it more as, and I get it, it's marketable, it's sellable, but you have to put in the effort and the brilliance that used to be there.
I
think Frugal said he's got to go. So
I don't know.
No. He was joking.
No
worries. By the way,
I just want to say one quick thing before we get off the topic of like why we read Marvel, or just like looking at
why we still read Marvel even though we're mad at them.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing on that.
So I'm still mad at them.
In my class. In one of my social studies classes, we had to take a person who was around during like the 60s, who was doing stuff like big stuff, like it was like era of 40s to 60s or whatever, just doing stuff. And I chose Stan Lee for mine. I had to pitch it to my teacher. It was one hell of a pitch because he let me do it barely. We were in debating arguments over who had the biggest effect on the world as a whole. I lost in the final round to Albert Einstein. Now, the fact that I was able to debate that Stan Lee crafted these stories that were so amazing that I was able to be, also that people were garbage debaters, but I made this point in my argument that Stan Lee crafted these worlds that have inspired the imaginations of just millions of people. Millions upon millions of people. It inspired generations. It has made relatable characters. It has completely changed just industries in general, the work that he did with people back then. He has made a more almost acceptable group of people. Like he's made an accepting group of people that are open to anyone, basically. And yet here we are today where we're kicking people out and doing the exact opposite of what he did. We're splitting down the middle on some stuff, which we shouldn't be doing. And honestly, I'll be bold in saying most of it's Marvel's fault. And honestly, it's completely Marvel's fault. With the way they treat people, the way they talk to the fans, the things they say, the books they're publishing. I want to see stories that inspire me, that make my imagination explode with excitement.
Something I would have liked to seen at the beginning, and I don't know if we're even there at maybe some Marvel artists, writers, editors can redeem themselves. But what should have been said at the beginning wasn't, obviously, if you don't like the way Riri Williams is written, you're a racist. But what should have been done was exactly as I said. Hey, look, sorry you didn't like this story. Maybe the next one will be better.
Yeah.
Keep at it. We value you as a customer. We hear your problems. We're going to be, but they didn't say that. And there you go, true believers. I hope you enjoyed that. I like that. I thought everybody had a decent and touching story, and it really shows that while we do criticize Marvel, the company, we love the characters, and we love the classic books, such like you see on the screen right now. So I would definitely recommend most of these, especially the Korvac saga. So what's your reason? I mean, you guys watch mostly, judging by the views, you watch mostly basically the videos that we just go off on Marvel. So is it for the same reasons? Why do you still care for the Marvel characters even though the company seems to have left you behind? Let us know in the comments below. Also, as I've said before, if you like this video and the stuff we do here, please click like, share, subscribe if you haven't done that already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything else. And, yep, we do have a Patreon and we do have VIDME, and we definitely could use the help. So if you don't mind, head on over or drop $1 in the till. We do make patron-only videos. And, it definitely helps us keep the lights on and keep the videos coming. So we'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers out there, just thank you very, very much for taking your time out and watching.